Lesley Garrett started out in Doncaster and became one of this country's best-known opera singers, driven by a mission to popularise the genre. Tomorrow, her Christmas concert will be broadcast on BBC Two at 8:05, featuring music from around the world and with the Argentinian tenor Jose Cura, the South African singer Sibongile Khumalo and the jazz trumpeter Guy Barker. The concert was recorded at home in Yorkshire, in Harrogate.
Most of the music that I perform, somehow or another, has been connected with my childhood and with my home and with that landscape, with that background. It's incredibly rich, and I can trace almost everything I sing back to that time. So whenever I go home, whenever I go back to Yorkshire, I do feel a wonderful sense of rejuvenation. And because I've got such a big family and such an active family, you know, we're in touch all the time. It's the place where I'm just loved so. And I think all of those things just make music happen in an extraordinary and wonderful way.
There's a South American and a South African performing with you in the concert. What does that do for you, bringing those international influences in?
Yorkshire is an incredibly multicultural county, to be honest, and that's another thing I love about it. So it sort of seemed quite appropriate to me to have an international flavour to the concert. I mean, it is set in the International Conference Centre, and Sibongile and Jose are just two dear people who I'd sung with previously during the year. Jose in the proms in the park, and Sibongile is the most amazing woman. We met in Westminster Abbey when we sang for the Queen's Jubilee, and afterwards we went to Buckingham Palace for a big reception. It was the Commonwealth Heads of Government service, and everyone was politely applauding the Queen and Prince Philip as heads of the Commonwealth in the great ballroom they have there. And suddenly Sibongile, who was standing next to me, went into this wonderful ululating thing that South Africans do when they're celebrating. And it was the most incredible sound. I was standing next to her and the air pulsated. I had no idea how big it was. I tried a sort of timid Rossini trill by way of, you know, competing, and gave up very quickly.
Can you do the ululating?
She tried to show me. You have to
go on, sit back a bit.
I can't really. I mean, that's Yorkshire ululating for you, darling. But the great thing about her is she is as connected to her South African background as I am to my Yorkshire background. So she was incredibly comfortable up there with me. And a bit like me as well, she has all this other music from her homeland. Obviously, it's different music, but I very much wanted to feature that on the show. And she sings a wonderful Christmas carol, as does Jose, from her own part of the world, and then joins me in others. And it was a wonderful mixture.
Now, there's a new album which has got folk songs on it, Jerusalem, Let It Be. How did you choose the mix for this?
In a way, it goes back almost a year, because it's been a smashing year for me in many ways. I started off getting a CBE this year, which I only mention because it's been a very liberating experience. It's a bit like, you know, the headmaster telling you you've passed all your exams now, you know, you're qualified. It's sort of given me a sense of, well, I can really sing what I like now, because I've just been given this wonderful, well, vote of confidence in a sense. And so I thought, well, I'm going to pick some different music. I'm going to actually sing some music that I've always wanted to do and never have, because it's not opera. It's not really strictly, in a sense, classical, although some of it is. And I've met Tolga as well, this extraordinary man, Tolga Kashif, who I've been working with for a couple of years. I met him when I did The Perfect Day for the BBC, that wonderful film that they made, which he arranged Lou Reed's piece of music for all those different singers.
What about the horse on the front?
Oh, the horse. Well, that was my mad idea. I thought, it's outside, you know, I like to ride. Why don't we have a horse? Do you know, horses have a book a bit like Spotlight for singers, or for actors, I should say. And they're all sort of, there's little pictures of them looking very coy, looking over kind of one wither. And And then they've all got an agent, and you ring up, and they come not just with their agent and their handler, but with hairdressers. I mean, the horse on the album cover had to have hair extensions at one point. And also, it's difficult to explain on radio, but on the album cover, I'm looking one way and the horse is looking the other. And the reason the horse is looking the other way is because it had its girlfriend with it. They bring their groupies. It had a little chestnut mare called Erin, who's just out of shot. And he wouldn't do anything without Erin being in shot or in vision, you know.
Never worked with children and animals.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the songs on the album is Let It Be.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Now, you've said that you're very interested in the influence of the classical on the popular. How is it reflected in that song, Let It Be?
Let It Be is, to me, a classic song. It's not classical music. I mean, people get very confused, I think, about this. I mean, classical music is a bit like a vintage car. You know, you can't invent another vintage car. It's what it is. It's absolutely fantastic and to be revered and to be constantly looked at afresh. And what it does, most importantly, in my view, is it influences modern composers. I was actually listening to Sting talk on the Michael Parkinson show about the way he's influenced by Bach. And if you listen to his music, you can hear clearly the way that works. And Tolga and I got into a room together and we were singing through Let It Be. And this kind of Bach prelude just happened underneath it. I mean, Tolga wrote that, but you'd be hard-pushed to know it wasn't original Bach. And the two just fitted together like a glove.
Now, I know that you had a worrying time a couple of years ago when your mum got very ill. What was the impact on your family Christmas? That I think it was 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was 3 years ago now. It was very wobbly, I can tell you. But I think Mum got us through, really. She was just determined that she was going to recover. She had a heart attack. I had a concert to do in the Albert Hall the next day, which was the hardest concert almost that I've ever done. But she's a fighter, my mum. She wasn't going to give in.
She sent you packing, didn't she?
She did. I was almost going to cancel a concert and she wouldn't hear of it. She said, no, you spit on your hands and take a fresh old. She said, you get yourself out there and you sing that concert. And I managed it. I did break down once when I had to sing Going Home. I remember I got to the line, Father's there, expecting me, Mother's waiting too, and I just had to stop. And I remember I told the whole Albert Hall that my mum was in hospital, and nearly the whole Albert Hall sent to get well soon cards, which I'm sure helped to get her better.
And this year, of course, she's
fighting fit, yes.